Richard, appreciate as always you joining us this morning, not only on April Fool's Day, but National Burrito Day. RD, the news we've discussed a little bit this morning as it pertains to recruiting is Chad Morris getting the Allen job. And one of the things that you've probably come to know, as other recruiting analysts in the state know, is that Chad's not going to block kids from going to the U of A, but with one of the most prominent high schools in the state of Texas, at a school where I think Jonathan Williams went, if I remember correctly. What's that dynamic going to be like with Sam Pittman and other Arkansas coaches trying to recruit Allen High School?
If you're a head coach and you try to steer kids away from a particular school, it's going to get out, and that could end up biting you. So it would be stupid to do anything like that. And I don't know Chad. We're not like buds or anything, but the times that I got to know him and talk to him, I never envisioned him being a type guy that would hold a grudge and tell a kid, don't go to this school, especially if the kid really likes the school and it's a good fit for him. So I think anybody that thinks that that could possibly happen, I just don't see it. So, but I think Coach Morris will look at Arkansas like every other school. I'm sure there's some ill feelings here or there, but you can't. A smaller person would probably have some ill will and obviously have that translate over to his job. But I don't think that happened with Chad.
I know they're going to vote on the one-time transfer rule after the Final Four. Richard, what way do you anticipate the NCAA ruling to come down when it comes to that?
I would be surprised if they don't allow it. They've been talking about it for the longest. I guess we can all be surprised, but everything indicates that at least what I've seen over the last few months and weeks, that along with the name and imaging, I think eventually it's going to happen. So I would be surprised if that doesn't happen. That's just the way that everything's leaning towards the momentum towards the athletes.
Yeah, you're talking about transfers. I wonder if Lincoln Riley, now with Chad Morris being the head coach at a prominent Texas high school, if Lincoln Riley's objection to Chandler's transfer will all of a sudden go away, because the last thing he wants to do is anger a head coach at a Texas high school.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he said he probably called Chandler and said, Chandler, how did this stuff get out? I didn't say nothing about this. I love your dad.
Yeah. Exactly. So there'll be some backtracking going on with that. Hey, open practice, open scrimmage again Saturday. We know that a few of Arkansas's recruits and targets came up and watched it. You think there'll be some more that make their way to Fayetteville on Saturday on the holiday weekend?
There could be. I think right now, especially it looks like with the NCAA probably going to open things up after May 31st, especially the kids from further distances and stuff like that. I would imagine a lot of them are just saying, I'll just wait until June so I can have interaction with the coaches and also obviously start official visits. So if it is, it's probably people that are just local.
Yeah. So you mentioned May 31st and things back to where you can have official and unofficial visits. How much do you think schools around the country and here at home at Arkansas have really kind of torn apart and maybe put back together the way they are doing visits? Now that they've been through the virtual process, they've done the online, what do you think maybe they've learned from all of this that will make official and unofficial visits maybe different moving forward when you're back to being able to greet people in person?
Yeah, well, I think the virtuals and Zooms will continue, and that would be kind of a good way to break the ice and have face-to-face contact, at least visually. And then, obviously, you just continue to do what you've always done with officials and unofficials and roll out the red carpet. And I don't see really much difference in how they conduct those because it's what they've been doing for all along has always been pretty efficient. It's pretty basic. You visit the campus, you meet the coaches, you talk to counselors, your professors, stuff like that. It's pretty much the same old, same old.
Richard Davenport with us here on the Morning Rush. RD, I thought it was interesting that Sooner Scoop reported if Austin Reeves had not gone and entered himself in the NBA draft, that he was likely going to choose the Arkansas Razorbacks as his transfer destination. How much of a landing destination is Arkansas basketball becoming with Eric Musselman based on his track record with transfers the last 2 years here in Fayetteville?
Well, it doesn't hurt. I mean, obviously, when you have the sixth man of the year in the SEC, and then you have two other transfers that start and really are major contributors in the starting five, and with Justin Smith, he obviously, I think, helped his stock with the NBA. That can't do anything but help, and I think you're probably going to see that very soon with others that are in the portal looking hard at Arkansas and eventually decided on Arkansas.
Richard, speaking of basketball recruiting, Sasha Goforth, who was at Oregon State, has decided to come home to the University of Arkansas and play for Mike Neighbors. She was a former five-star player for Fayetteville High School. How big of a get is that for Nabes and this women's basketball program?
Two different things. I mean, obviously, Coach Neighbors has had good success with transfers too. Dungy and Ramirez. You look at that's a plus. And then you have an in-state prospect that went out of state and eventually decided, I want to come back home. I think that kind of serves notice to maybe some of the out-of-state prospects that think that, well, maybe I'll go out of state. I like this school. I want to kind of expand my horizons. But sometimes it's not always what you anticipate, especially when you go off that far and you don't have that interaction with your family on a consistent basis, and you just feel distance from your family. Your family just, for the most part, if it's too far off, they're just not going to be able to go to your games.
Yeah, and I heard Coach Neighbors talking yesterday afternoon with the guys, with Ruskin and Zach. She was on the all-freshman Pac-12 team. I mean, it's not like she went and it wasn't successful. Now let's go find somewhere. This is about getting closer to home. I mean, McDonald's All-American, five-star player. I mean, she's earned every bit of this. So it's not like you're getting someone that hadn't panned out. This is a terrific player that's just coming back home.
Yeah, exactly. It's not somebody that rode the bench and averaged 2 or 3 points a game. I think she averaged around 11 points a game, and like you said, was all freshman. So I think it's very bright, with what Arkansas has got coming in, with this recruiting class with Jersey Wolfenberger, and then you add Sasha and the other parts of the 21 class, and what you already have on campus. It's very very encouraging.
Well, and you think about how many, you mentioned two of them right there. You think about all the Arkansas connections, and as much as we focus and spend time on talking about the 4- and 5-star players in Arkansas on the men's side, there is just as many to talk about on the women's side. And Mike is now getting a good collection of those that were Arkansas players, coveted recruits from this state that are now going to be Razorbacks.
Yeah, and that's the key. Anytime, we've talked about this over the years. Anytime Arkansas is usually pretty good in all sports, football, basketball, it's because of the the in-state kids contributing to the program and making a big difference in the teams. And when you're able to have success with the in-state kids, it also motivates the other in-state kids coming up to take maybe a harder look at Arkansas when maybe in the past they might not have done that.
Richard, before we let you go, we're going to jump back into our April Fool's conversation. What's the best April Fool's prank that you've ever pulled / has been pulled on you over the years?
Well, it wasn't a April Fool's joke, but I had a family member who had a vehicle. It was a misunderstanding as far as the payments and everything, and their vehicle got repossessed, and they eventually got that straightened out. But make a long story short, I disguised my voice and called them and told them I had their truck and and I was talking to my cousin, and I told him, I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll sell your truck back to you. And oh my God! And make a long story short, my cousin was pregnant. She had run across the street to call the cops while I was on the phone with her husband. And oh my God, if something bad would have happened, that would have been bad.
That's a good one, Richard. Appreciate it, buddy. Go and enjoy yourself at a burrito at La Hacienda later today, as it is National Burrito Day.
I know you any national day as far as food, you're going to be on it.
Yeah,
I know that.
He has a calendar.
Gotta be. Thanks, RD.
All right, guys. See you.
All right.